Thank you for joining us. It's great to see you again. A victory last week at the Coke 600, and then now a victory here today in Sonoma. Just talk a little bit about this week and what it has been like to be a part of the 5 team.
Yeah, it's been a special week for sure. After the Coke 600, that was quite a race, and it's hard to even believe that the race played out then the way it did, and our car stayed up front the whole time. So this week we were a little tired on Monday and Tuesday, but I'm so thankful and so proud of the guys back at the shop, everyone at Hendrick Motorsports, because we let opportunities like that, or we let moments like that create opportunities for us just to get rejuvenated and to go work hard. And our guys put in a lot of long hours. I mean, the whole shop did, to try to get these cars ready to come out west. The trucks had to leave early this week. So Tuesday was a long day. Wednesday was a really long day. And the guys were just ready to grind it out. And it takes all of that prep and all that focus to get us back here. Very, very thankful.
All right, we're going to start with questions. And to kick us off, we're going to go to Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hi, Cliff. I'm wondering how much did your strategy calls, your plan coming into the race, did it change at all, or was it pretty set in stone what you were going to do and it unfolded as you expected it to?
Yeah, stage one was pretty set, and I think we executed that basically how we planned to. Didn't know how good our car was going to be. Haven't been here before with Kyle. It's been a couple years since we've been here anyways, and it's no secret the last handful of trips here, like our Hendrick cars and even the Chevrolets as a whole, we just haven't been as good as we need to be. So we were hoping we could stay up front and get top 5 stage points in stage one. And then we were kind of prepared to short the stage like a lot of guys did in stage two. But once we realized we had a really fast car that could pass, and Kyle was doing such a good job with it, it allowed us to gamble a little to try to get another stage win and get those stage points, which luckily we did. And then having, a tire advantage on a handful ahead of us only by a few laps, but then a good chunk at the front of the field, we had more than a handful of laps of tire advantage. Looking at that, assuming we could get through with clean tires and clean fenders, we thought stage 3 could kind of play out eventually and work out okay for us. I did not expect us to get back to the front that quick, and that just shows how hard Kyle was able to drive the car. He's just a master in traffic. So to see that play out was really cool. And then once we got up front, from my perspective, it's a little nerve-wracking because you have a fast car and there was still a lot of laps left. So we didn't want to abuse our tires or push too hard. And even the way the race played out at the end, he had 3 restarts that he had to nail, and he nailed them perfect. So really cool.
You mentioned stage points, and I'm wondering if coming into this race, or maybe as the race unfolded, you've kind of noticed that winning the regular season championship is maybe more obtainable, and that's affected your wanting to go after stage points.
Yeah, I can't say you're wrong in that assumption. It's definitely something we've had our eyes on, and credit to the 11 bunch, as good as they've been all year for a little while for the whole rest of the field. It didn't really look like that was going to be achievable for someone else because the 11 had built up such a lead. But our team is strong right now, and knowing that is, kind of in our sights, we're certainly going to pay attention to it. And there's still a lot of racing left. It's going to be a long summer. There's a lot of, weeks in a row where we're going to have backup cars and practice qualifying events. We've got to stay sharp. And then come playoff time, that's when we really got to be on top of our game. So, we're going to keep our eyes on it, but we need to stay sharp in the meantime.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Cliff, along those lines, do you have like set number of points that you're like, okay, by this time of the year, we want to be within this much of Hamlin, and then in a month later, if we're this much behind Hamlin, then, do you kind of map it out that when you're trying to catch somebody like that for the regular season title?
I understand the thought process, but honestly, no way. Since the beginning of the year, and we knew we were close in a couple races that for one reason or another, things didn't work out for us. We really just want to focus right now on executing every week. And it's more about building our process, making sure the team is, if there's 10 tenths out there to get, we don't need to try to get 11 and stub our toe, and we don't need to, get complacent and only get 8 either, if that makes sense. So yes, the points matter. Yes, the outlook of all that matters, but having the distraction of thinking that we need to achieve a certain amount of points per event, we're just not really going there right now. We're keeping all of our focus just in what it takes to go execute every week.
And I know it's not the same equipment, but Kyle has always been fast here, but he hasn't had good races here. Was there anything that you saw in his past races that you kind of harped on him to say, hey, focus on these things? Because if you do these things, you'll have a good race just like you qualified.
Not specifically. I think he naturally, and we all saw it today, right? Even from the drop of the green flag, he has an amazing knack for this place. And to be very candid, the issues that he's had of handling in the cars in the past at Ganassi, we have had the same issues. And I can't say that Hendrick has been as good as we need to be here. So I think it was more of a Chevrolet thing in the past. I mean, we struggled the last couple trips here with Jimmy, and some of our other teammates did as well. So thankfully, we've had a great foundation of the road course setups that we've been building. Credit to Alan and to Chase on the 9 team that we've all been able to take that kind of foundation of what they've built and we get to go apply it, at these tracks we haven't been at in a while. Obviously, we have a few new tracks coming up that we haven't been to either. So we've got to keep building on it, which is a really cool spot to be in, and we'll just see how it goes.
All right, our next question will come from Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Cliff, 2 things. First off, what were you seeing or what do you think was the difference with the tires this year? It seemed like they wore out maybe a lot more than we've seen in the past at Sonoma.
There was a lot of fall off for sure. To me, I guess what stands out is as hard as we were able to run them at the beginning of the run, because we ran pretty hard. They didn't fall off a cliff of lap time after 8 or 10 laps. It was more of a gradual progression, still plenty of fall off. We know it's a soft compound tire. So I thought that was encouraging, from the racing standpoint, where a guy could go hard and kind of beat his stuff up and then and didn't have to pay a 1 second penalty for the next 5 or 8 laps. You could kind of get everything back underneath of you and keep going. Even when we were passing our way back up through there and we had to work, our tires pretty hard. Once we got back into clean air, and Kyle did a great job being patient once we kind of reestablished track position, the tires seemed to come back to him. Obviously, he and I haven't had a chance to debrief yet, but it seemed pretty reasonable.
And then coming into the year, you preached about building a foundation early with this team, that was going to be really important. Is there anything about how quickly things have come together for this team that is surprising or surreal even of how well things have gone from the get-go?
All right, Cliff, can you hear us? All right, hang tight. They're going to reconnect. We'll get started as soon as we can.
Okay. Are you guys there?
Yes, we are here. Go ahead. Kelly, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Cliff, you preach coming into the season about building a foundation early and the importance of doing that. Is there anything about how quickly things have come together with this team that is surprising or surreal or just you have to pinch yourself about?
It's definitely a very special place to be in for our whole team. And there's been a lot that's, kind of gone into getting us where we are. Kyle had an amazing year on the racetrack and had a lot he had to overcome last year off the racetrack. And he's probably never been in a better spot in his career now. I mean, he's definitely, amazing in any car that he gets in every week. And then for our team, it's been a challenge the last 3 or 4 years, and we've really been seasoned to that. And we have just an amazing chemistry back at the shop, road crew, pit crew, our whole team, is just absolutely phenomenal. So to kind of see it all come together in this way is really special. And even still, yes, with an amazing start to the year that we've had, very thankful for that. We're still going to Texas All-Star next week. That's the first time that this team will be at Texas with Kyle behind the wheel. And then when we go to Nashville, that's a totally new track, and it'll be our first time with him behind the wheel, and so on and so forth. I mean, I think the first rerun track that we get to is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Atlanta. quite a few races from now. So every week in a way is still kind of a new week for us. And it's a good opportunity to continue to learn and to continue to build that foundation. And again, still a lot of racing left. So hopefully we get it right when it counts.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Jim Utter. Go ahead, Jim.
Congratulations, Cliff. Just a quick question. I asked Jeff Andrews the same thing. Do you, given what you've seen from your team and Kyle and the organization in general over the last 4 weeks and the entire season, can you foresee any place on the schedule going forward where one of the 400 guys wouldn't be a legitimate contender for a win?
It's a great question, and it's kind of tough to say. I mean, Pocono is always a challenge, I think, for everyone. And if I remember correctly, last year we weren't where we needed to be at Pocono. I do think there are a few more tracks coming up that are going to be challenging. And thankfully, our company is so strong right now. Everyone is working so well, locked in arms with each other. So hopefully that energy and that momentum can get us what we need when we go to some of those challenging tracks. And I think going back to Watkins Glen, it's been a couple years. Indy Road Course will be new. So there's some of these places that, it's hard to say because we just don't know. Pocono is definitely a challenge, and it has been for us for some time. So we'll brush up on our notes and give it our best shot.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Justin. Go ahead, Justin.
Thanks, Justin Schuler, kicking the tires. Cliff, congratulations first off. And I have a question because I'm curious what it's like as a crew chief. You mentioned a little bit earlier how you're talking about you didn't come here last year because of the pandemic, and obviously we missed you out here on the West Coast. But how difficult is it when you have all these little rule changes over the past 2 years and trying to rely on notes from 2019 and even before? How difficult is it as a crew chief to approach the track with all those different rule changes coming back again?
It's definitely a big challenge. And then another layer on top of everything you just said is the tire construction change coming here. So it's a place that, yes, all the factors you just mentioned, plus the difference in the tire. I had a lot of anxiety even before the start of the race, just because we know, kind of our process of what we looked at from old notes, trying to do our best job to understand the tire or predict the tire ahead of time. But there's still so many unknowns. And thankfully, we had a good spot on pit road. We had the track position to start the race. Kyle is so good here. And we saw that, from the drop of the green flag, that all of that helped. And then we did tune on our car just a little bit as the day went. But, there was a lot of prep to get us to this point that was our best educated guess, I would say.
What kind of small things can you rely on when you have so much changing?
Again, I mentioned it earlier, and I think the foundation of where the Hendrick Motorsports road course package is right now, very thankful that it is strong, and we can really, compete well at all the places. Think back to the Daytona road course at the beginning of the year. Our cars ran up front. COTA, our cars were going to be up front, I think wet or dry, and then to come here and be strong. It's just a great foundation. So those are the notes that we rely on, and then just try to piece together the uniqueness of Sonoma and how to apply that to here. Didn't expect it to work as well as it did today. Thought if we got it right, we could compete, and certainly a great day.
All right, and we're going to try to fit in one more question. Tom, go ahead with your question.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, Cliff. As the later stages of the race were unfolding, you were making up some ground on Chase in big chunks, but the tire was falling off really bad. Did you feel like those late cautions saved things a little bit and helped you get over the hump and get you the win?
Yes and no. I mean, I think either way, once we had gotten out to the lead, still under green before the yellows happened at the end, I think Kyle was going to be really smart with how he managed everything, and he was going to maintain a pretty good gap. So I think we would have been okay at that point. Obviously, it's hard to say, how bad the tire fall off would have been the last, handful of laps of the race, because that was going to be our longest stint of the day. And then once the yellows happen, it gives everything a chance to cool down, obviously, and that kind of, more or less equalizes things to guys behind you. So I knew it was going to be critical to make sure we had a good launch on the restarts and have a good first couple corners. And Kyle did just a phenomenal job of nailing, I think it was 3 restarts, nailing all of that. And, they certainly got to beat on our bumper, for a corner or two, which is good, hard racing. And then it worked out after that. So yeah, tough to say, if or if not the yellows, but I think we were in a good spot either way.
Good deal. Well done.
All right, Cliff. Thank you again for spending some time with us. Congratulations again on the win.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.